Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 461 of FloWrestling Radio Live. Today I'm joined by David Bray and, of course, Ben Askren. Got some lights in there today, huh?
Well, I usually do. I think maybe I have set up exceptionally well today. Hey, I think you might be the new O guy.
You think so?
It's pretty good. It's getting pretty good, Kyle.
Dang, he's not going to be happy about that. He's going to come back the first day he's back. He's just going to knock it out of the park. Like, it's going to be a really good one.
I'm the O guy.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, as we were just getting started here, it looks like we got some breaking news from UWW.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news. Where?
They tweeted out, trio of Olympic licenses reassigned after anti-doping rules violations.
What?
Wait, what does that mean? Trio of Olympic licenses.
United World Wrestling this week confirmed that three wrestlers from the 2019 Senior World Wrestling Championships in Nur Sultan have their results disqualified following anti-doping rules violations. Following doping controls and the results management conducted by the International Testing Agency on behalf of United World Wrestling, the anti-doping rules violations for the presence of prohibited substances have been established against freestyle wrestlers Kadziev from France at 74 kilos.
Oh.
He's a Russian, though.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. Vodka Kubota.
He's got to be a Russian.
125 kilos. I believe SYR. What is that, Syria?
Syria?
Yeah.
And Kasimboy Rakimov from Uzbekistan, another 125 kilo guy.
Definitely Russian.
Really? So does that mean Olympic licenses reassigned? Does that mean that they took away the qualifying spot from those countries?
It appears so.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So now the Olympic qualifying spot at 74 kilograms has gone to Kamil Rybicki of Poland.
Yep.
And then the two at 125 went to Egzon Sala of KOS.
It could be Kosovo, maybe?
Was that Kosovo?
And
Kosovo,
Yadala Mehebi of Iran.
Wow.
I mean, hey, this is crazy. What if these would have happened, why does it take so long to get the drug testing back? Because what if it would have happened a little later after the additional qualifiers, right? Because in the upcoming qualifiers, people who already qualified aren't allowed to wrestle because they don't want to steal spots. What if this would have been just a little later?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And I mean, it does seem like we've been hearing rumors for a long time that there are wrestlers who popped at Worlds. So I don't even know if it's an issue of the testing took a long time or they're just slow on, releasing the information. But I feel like we also heard that I feel like we also heard that there was at least one member of the Russian team that popped, and we haven't heard anything official about that.
That was
Really? You heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the rumor going around Twitter. Yeah.
That was, Ivan was saying that.
Mm-hmm. Ivan Freestyle, the big Russian Twitter guy.
Well, all of these guys are, it appears to me, by reading the names, they all look to be Russians, right? Kadziev definitely is.
Yeah,
the
he
Uzbekistan
transferred.
Yep, the Uzbekistan guy, Rakimov, that's Russian. And Kubota, I guess, I'm not sure on that, but it's just a guess. He's probably a Russian also.
Yeah, if he's not Russian, he's like the greatest Syrian of all time.
For real. No joke on that.
Wow. So, hey, at least we're catching some cheaters, right? I know it seems it's taking a while, but at least we're catching some bad dudes.
Yeah, they found. I'm curious as to how many if the Russians. Sorry, guys, I lost my charging cord. If they will actually test the Russians hard enough to catch them, or if the Russians will actually stop doping, right? Because Russia is no longer for this Olympics going to be tested by RUSADA, which we know was a crooked organization. Will they actually be tested, to a standard that other people are tested by, or will they actually get off? Will they actually be clean? I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like this whole issue of them removing the qualifying spots from the countries, I mean, it just makes me wonder if Russia is not going to be competing under the Russian flag, but they earned those spots under the Russian flag. They earned those Olympic qualifying spots under the Russian flag. How does testing impact them, right? Like, if they're, I don't know, like their spots aren't being awarded to them by country or taken away by country. Like, how does that even work?
Yeah, and it is weird because essentially they do have to do it by their country. They just won't officially get to call it Russia because they have to pick for example, they have to pick a representative and send them to the qualifiers. They can't just be a whole bunch of Russians show up at the qualifiers. That wouldn't be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So you can't have that happen. So they do in fact have to pick who their representative is and who's gonna go to the qualifier, the Europeans or whatever it is. But yeah, Europeans, they were representing Russia still, correct?
Yeah, they were.
Huh. Yeah,
they're gonna.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I know everyone, like, when that news broke, thought Russia wasn't gonna be there, and Nomad was like, "Guys, they're gonna be there," and he's dead on. They're gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that more people aren't trying to use that situation to find loopholes. Like, I mean, if they're still like they still have to be kind of country affiliated, then Russia's in charge of that team selection process, in theory, right? But if somebody is going to go and they're going to be Olympic athlete from Russia, I'm surprised that more people don't just try to go as Olympic athlete from somewhere without a country affiliation, or at least explore that possibility. But it seems like so far everybody's just sort of saying, yeah, okay, we'll just pretend like this is a ban and just go about our business as usual.
Yeah. Pretend. For real.
All right, now that we got the cheaters out of the way, no room for them in our sport. We are unlike baseball, and we will not tolerate the cheating.
Hey, what about Pete Rose? You guys think Pete Rose should be allowed back into the Hall of Fame?
100%. Yes. Yes.
Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what you want the Hall of Fame to do, but if it's a measurement of his baseball accomplishments, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. He always bet on himself. I don't really see what the issue is there.
No, I'm with you, Ben. He should be in.
Yeah, he didn't bet against himself and then lose on purpose. He bet for himself. I think you should have got him in earlier because of that.
Ben, I know we kind of mentioned on here before. I don't know if you remember. Someone asked us like our opinions on the Astros cheating scandal, and this was like way before like a bunch of the stuff came out.
Okay.
But so the commissioner of Major League Baseball isn't punishing like the players at all. That cheated.
What?
Yeah.
Who just the organization or what?
What's that?
Is he gonna punish just the organization?
Yeah, they got fined and like their GM and coach are gone. And I think they lost some draft picks too. But he said he wasn't gonna punish the players because they needed immunity to be able to like tell them what happened. Like.
Oh, well, that's what USADA tries doing that. I mean, one of the ways they say they reduce suspensions, and they never talk about it, so we don't know if it's true or not. Maybe it's just a gimmick. But they say if you help them find other cheaters, they'll reduce your suspension.
Wow, confidential informant stuff.
Yeah.
The commissioner of Major League Baseball. He's scared of grievances getting filed. He doesn't want to file grievances with like the players union because if they get in trouble. It's crazy because every other player in Major League Baseball is speaking out against the Astros and the commissioner and saying that they're trash and everything they did.
But couldn't the players just say the coach made me? Couldn't they just say that?
I guess they could.
It'd be hard to prove. And then, I mean, I got to assume, listen, I'm not a baseball guy, but I got to assume that someone else is cheating. They can't be the only team that was cheating, can they?
Yeah. No, that's the thing is the Red Sox are under investigation right now, and like their manager got fired. Yeah, no, they're not the only organization for sure.
It's like it's the opposite of how baseball handled the steroid thing, right? Where they were very much looking for individual athletes, and they were going to like single out individual athletes, despite the fact that it was very much, not necessarily institutionalized, but certainly like
it was a little bit.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean there were a lot of things put in place to make it incentivized for players, and they really went after individual players in that instance. Whereas here it's very different. So
yeah, it's clear Major League Baseball just wants it to go away, and like every day the commissioner says something else that like gets him in more hot water, or the Astros say something really stupid. It's been pretty good drama. But moving on to drama on the mat, I want to talk about this duel real quick just because it was an awesome duel and we didn't get to talk about it yesterday. Iowa State and Northern Iowa. Iowa State comes from behind when honestly it kind of looked like they might not be able to after they lose the swing match at 49 with Max Thompson, and then Peyton Moore wins with no David Carr in the lineup. But then kind of the turning point of the duel comes at 174 where Sammy Colbray knocks off Bryce Steyert.
Yeah, that was a huge one because I did not see that coming. And Steyert's been wrestling really, really well all year. No, I don't want to say head-scratching losses, but no losses to guys who are ranked significantly below him. So I was really surprised when I saw the result of that one.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, Colbray came in at the beginning of the year, I think ranked 5th at 184, and felt like he might be somebody that could be an All-American at 184, but then his season wasn't great, and then dropped down to 80 or 74, and hadn't had the success that they projected him to have at 84, and then now all of a sudden this result kind of, it's like, is he back to being an All-American contention, or was this just kind of a one-off result? I don't know. Be curious to see.
The other kind of interesting one, it started the duel, is Alex Mackel had been 2-1 against Jay Schwarm, and Schwarm decked him in the first period. And you'll like this.
But wait, you brought up that statistic about Schwarm. He's like, he either pins or he loses, right? Wasn't that the statistic you brought up?
I was just going to say 14 of his 17 wins are by fall.
That's crazy.
He's the Division I leader then, because I thought I saw that Stencil was the Division I leader at 13.
I think he passed him this weekend because he had a pin on Friday night and then on Sunday.
Jay Schwarm.
Yeah,
he's gonna win the shell. He's gonna win the shell. We need Shallis Award statistics. We don't have any of those.
We'll get Nomad on it.
Yeah, because pinning people 125 pounds is so much harder than heavyweight. It really is. So you got to factor that in a little bit.
Well, it's crazy with Schwarm too. I think this is his 4th year starting, or at least 3rd. People know what's coming. They know he's gonna try to cradle you from everywhere, and he's still able to do it. He was winning that match like 8-2 when he pinned him too, so it wasn't like it just came out of nowhere.
His cradle looks really brutal.
Yeah, when it comes from everywhere, it's hard. We talked about that yesterday with the game planning for people, right? If there's like one place it comes from, it would be no big deal. But when he does it from so many different variety of places, that's when it gets really difficult. And really, I think from what I've seen out of him, and I haven't watched a ton of matches, but it's more when he gets it locked up, he's really good at turning people over. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He seems like he's able to get an angle on when he's locking the cradle up, especially that near side cradle, where he just he crunches these dudes so hard. He did that to Alex Thompson at CKLV, and it looked like he was Alex Thompson didn't move. He went off the mat and sat down and didn't move for like half an hour. I mean, and Mackel kind of did the same thing. He gets up and he's like, first concern is am I okay before he's concerned about losing the match. But do you see that pressure? Is he doing something different that other people aren't doing?
I did not see Alex Thompson match. Yeah, so listen, I have 4 basics when I teach cradles that I say if you do these 4 things well, then everything else is going to be easy. So one of them is elbow positioning, the elbow on the neck and the knee, which is going to allow this sharp bone right here on your forearm to be right across the neck there. So when then you actually squeeze, it squeezes right on that. And you can, you could never use it in MMA because the person will just turn over, right? But in a sport like wrestling, where the guy does not want to go to his back, you can kind of almost choke someone out with it. Not all the way out, but you can choke them a good way, good bit of the way towards being out.
Flow Nationals finals, Chad Red locked up a cradle on Luke Pletcher, and Pletcher went out.
Oh, he did put him out. Okay, so usually you don't see that. Usually it's you can get him a little lightheaded, but it don't go out. It doesn't.
No,
go
it was insane. It was so tight. He locked up. He went out.
Inside or outside?
I can't remember.
Oh man,
I'd need to go back and watch the match, but I remember I wasn't at that event, just watching it live at home, and it was scary for a second because Pledger was just laying there.
Damn. Getting choked out is no big deal. You get choked out, you wake up in 5 seconds. You're fine. He probably kept wrestling, right?
Oh, he got pinned.
Oh, it was pinned. Okay.
Yeah, he got pinned, and then when he let go, it was like, oh, he is out. Yeah, and then the 6th match in their careers between Max Thompson and Dagan. Thompson improves to 6-0.
Yeah, that's crazy that he can't beat him. I mean, because he's really good and he just can't get that win at all.
What in your opinion makes that matchup so tough for him?
Listen, I got no room to speak, Brecky. I had 8 shots at Chris Pelton. I could only beat him one time. There's just some times where it was something about that guy that you just can't quite figure out, or they just So, yeah, it's a tough one for him.
Yeah. Lujan gets a big major over Marcus Coleman, and then Joel Shapiro over Isaiah Patton, and then Gannon Grimmel, Carter Isley. These two, obviously, both Iowa high school heavyweights that were ranked pretty much their whole careers, and then I think Grimmel owns the series advantage over him heading into this match, but it was Isley who won last year in the duel.
They wrestled 5 times before this, and it was 3-2. Grimmel had won 3. So I mean, yeah, they've gone back and forth.
I liked Grimmel in the second period. He was raising the roof.
In the second period?
Yeah. Yes. Did you? Dresser talked about that.
He was just pumped. He got a takedown. He was up like 3-0 going into the third period. And what Dresser say?
Well, Dresser, first of all, he pronounces roof like rough. And he's like, well, yeah, he's raising the roof. Second period might be a little earlier for raising the roof, but. You don't normally see a mid-match rough raise, but
rough raise.
Man,
oh man. Hey, I want to circle back to Lujan.
Yeah.
We talked about how good Hunter Bolin was yesterday on the show. I feel like that's the NCAA semi. Bolin versus Lujan. I think they're going to be 2-3 at NCAAs. I think that's the semi to make the finals versus Heat. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. The way Lujan looks awesome up at 84, and just like his ability to score points and scramble with anybody, he's so much fun to watch.
And those guys wrestled twice at CKLB, right? They split. Yeah. Lujan won the first one, and I thought he looked like the better wrestler in that match. And then when they wrestled for third, that match was wild. The third place match, there was some action that happened on the edge that for a while looked like it might have been in bounds. Ref called him out. That could have maybe changed the outcome of that match early on, but man, Bolin looked really good in that one. So.
How about their 2 matches? The first one that Lujan won 9-7, and then the third place match was 10-8.
Yeah, they're like he said, they were both wild. I mean, back and forth. I want to say at both matches, I feel like both guys got 2 or 3 takedowns. Like, I mean, it was really a lot of offense in both those matches. Hey, you mentioned something. Actually, there was a question for friends yesterday, Brecky, that I saw that you bring up. Something about how the high school out of bounds rules need to change to be like the college out of bounds rules.
Yep, dude, I put it back in the doc today because I wanted to make sure we got back to that. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, that would be like one thing that I would so love to have happen. And I realize maybe at all, sometimes there's not enough out of bounds room, but it's like high school out of bounds, dude, it is so shaky. Like when they're in bounds or out of bounds. College is so easy. If anything is in, they're in. It's like, it's so clear cut. It's so obvious. It's so easy. And obviously you get a lot of continued wrestling. So I wish that would be able to happen at the high school level.
Yeah, Scott Hannafy asked, should high school wrestling adopt the college rule of 1 point of contact inbounds? From a referee's standpoint, 2 points isn't directly clarified, and that made a decision this last weekend of who qualified for state. Yeah, please, because every state and every official in America calls it differently in high school wrestling.
Yes.
And you don't know what's going to be allowed to continue and what isn't, and yeah, it's awful.
It feels like the excuse that a lot of people have for keeping the rule the way it is that, like, oh, well, some high school mats are smaller, or, they put them too close together. That just feels like you're making an excuse for, like, shoddy equipment. You're like, well, we don't really want to take care of these athletes by giving them enough mat space to wrestle with, so we'll just change the rule. And I don't really think that's an acceptable excuse.
Also, I don't think mat space is really a good excuse, because if you're wrestling on the edge, you're not just running through somebody out of bounds. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to score on the edge, you're not going to run them off the mat. You're going to want to try to keep your 1 point in bounds and work to either pull them back in or just keep a body part of yours in. Like, it's not like a double leg where you're Kyle Dake blasting David Taylor 5 mats over into the 4th row.
And they gave him points for that, Bracky.
I know, they gave him points.
Well, and yeah, good point. And if you are blasting somebody off the edge of the mat, you're not choosing whether or not you're going to do that based on the out of bounds rule, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just change it. You can change it.
Just change it. I agree. You could definitely change that rule. I think that would make it so much better, so much easier, and just very clear, to your point, very clear cut.
That's what one of the craziest things about I know we talk about this every year is Ironman. Like it is.
Oh, those are crazy.
It's such an awesome tournament, but the officiating and everything like that goes into it really takes away from how awesome the wrestling is.
And the mats are darn near Venn diagrams. The circles almost interlace with each other.
Venn diagram. Oh, that's a good word there.
They are very small in the upper gym.
Yeah, I mean the other part of that rule is there's a rule if any body part is off the mat, the action is stopped, right? So you obviously have that option on the shorter sides of the mats. So I just don't see why it can't be changed. And yeah, I think we made a good point. I think we should they need to play this at the referees convention next August or whatever.
Solved it.
Solved it.
Cerro Pelado went down in Cuba, and there's some notable results. Obviously, the big one being Jaden Cox, first time at 97 kilos. He wins gold, beats Silas Perez in the finals, which obviously.
Can I complain here, Kyle?
Yeah.
Dude, it's effing 2020, and we can't even get scores on some of these matches or names of opponents. Like, I don't. What?
That's what's crazy is I took this straight from USA Wrestling.
I know, but like it just says like Sosa or a last name. There's not even a full name on a couple of them. There's no score. I think on one of them I just saw a country somewhere, maybe. Didn't I?
Probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it seems like that last round, the medal round, they didn't keep score.
Why? Why didn't Flo buy the rights to the Cerro Pelado?
Yeah, that's a good.
I have
no idea. Question.
Go. You need to go talk to your man Fidel.
I'll go talk to Bowlesby right now.
No, talk to Fidel. Tell Fidel you want the rights.
We probably would have had to bring over like 3 or 4 automobiles that are newer than the 1950s, and that would have been enough. Yeah, I mean, and obviously scores were hard to find, but so match film was not going to happen. I really would have liked to see
out of the question.
Yeah. But I really would have liked to see that Jaden Cox Salas Perez match. All I really know is based on Kevin Jackson's Twitter account, which is that it was a very close match. It was a war.
I think they actually had a score for that one. It was 5-3.
5-3, but I just would have loved to see that match and how the scoring happened. That was the bronze medal match at the Olympics, right? And that was an insane match. Controversial that time, and so I don't know, but I just want to know how Jaden looked. I know Salas Perez is sometimes outstanding. Sometimes he looks like a world beater. He has been that at various points in his career. But I don't know. I just want to know how Jaden looks at 97 kilos.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be. I think Salas Perez and Jaden's gonna be an awesome match every single time. Just the way they both wrestle, really highly technical styles, fluid, fun to watch. Sad that we'll never ever see film of this match. What do you guys got? What do you guys think about old man Reese Humphrey making the finals up a couple weight classes?
I thought it was awesome.
He decided to enter the tournament like a week or like a couple days before it started?
Oh, a couple days. So someone asked him when the decision was made. Hang on, it's funny. Someone goes, "How soon before the event did you decide you were going to compete? Did you know you were going to wrestle like 3 months out, a week out?" He goes, "It got brought over drinks on the beach on Thursday. Actually committed to it on Friday, wrestled on Saturday."
Boom. There we go.
He did like this basically the same thing last year with the beach wrestling tournament. Where I think, we were sending people over there to cover it, and maybe it was Mike Mal's idea. It was like, man, this would be really cool if we brought somebody over there to compete. Reese, you want to do it? And it was, like a week or two before. I would love to like just be in the kind of shape that I could just enter a tournament in the last couple of days, but that would be like that'd be signing my death warrant to do that.
Yeah, but do you guys have that friend where listen, it's been a while since I've been in college. I'm getting old now. got that friend where you can just talk them into just about anything.
Yeah.
Like if you applied enough pressure, hey, go jump off that mountain, or hey, go swim with those sharks. If you applied enough pressure, that seems like Reese. Like, hey, why don't you go wrestle? That's probably a terrible idea. Are you sure you don't want to do it? Sure, let's go.
Yeah, that could be.
And he said it was decided over drinks. So.
Yeah, how many drinks?
Yeah.
How many drinks is the question?
At 50, also Jane Cox beat Jacob Casper, Duke All-American 4-0. And then Reese, as you said, was second. He lost to Alec Pantaleo in the finals, but had 2 wins before that.
Kyle, you guys corrected me on names. I got yelled at incessantly by Tommy Rowlands on our old podcast for saying that. Tommy says it's Pantaleo.
We've heard literally both, and I'm pretty. I
got yelled at for this. I got yelled at for this multiple times by Tommy.
We've heard both, and then Spade did an interview with him after he won CKLV, and he literally says in the interview, Pantaleo.
I'm gonna go yell at Tommy then for yelling at me.
I'll try to find that interview and send it to you.
Yeah, because Tommy would yell at me all the time for saying it that way. He always said it's Pantaleo, and he would make fun of me for saying Pantaleo.
And I even think after Spade did the interview, we were talking about it on Media Row there. Michigan's SID, Leah Howard, was sitting there, and she's like, no, it's Pantaleo. And we're like, we have this interview with him, and he's saying Pantaleo.
I can't remember what website I was on the other day, one of the college team websites, and they had little click buttons where you could play the sound of everybody's name.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember what website it was. Maybe Hofstra, I think.
Every school needs to do that for sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
They probably need to get somebody other than the coach to do it, because I know a lot of coaches that they don't really know for sure how to say you guys' last names.
Dresser, he used to call Jared Hott. He would call him Hout all the time. He'd be like, Hout's coming along good. The other notable result at 57 kilograms, Nathan Tomasello made the finals, where he lost to Andrea Ortega. And as Nomad pointed out, that's going to be the big step or the big hurdle the United States has to clear to qualify 57 kilos is Ortega.
But wait, hold on. I thought at Pan Am's is 2 people qualify, and it's seeded. So it should be Cuba and America.
Yeah, as long as we're on different sides. Yeah.
I think that's how it'll be seeded.
Is there any way that it could not be seeded that way? Because I mean, America or Cuba would have to go all the way to 4 to be, on the same side.
Yeah, I think it'll be seeded that way. I can't see anybody else who would end up pushing one of those guys to 4.
Yeah. Seabass in Puerto Rico, but he's not going. So that would be another.
Yeah. That's that Andrea Ortega match is one that doesn't have a score, so we don't know how.
No idea
how well NATO did there, but NATO did beat Nodir Safarov 7-0. Nodir was 5th in the world a few years ago, and he trains at the Hawkeye Club, but that's a good win, 7-0 over Safarov.
Nice.
I think that's about it. Nazar was bronze. Jacob Casper 5th. Hayden Zilmer 5th.
Did you guys talk about the Euros on the Monday show? Because I believe I read that you guys did.
Yeah, we did. We talked through some of that stuff. What'd you think of those results, Ben?
Well, I want to ask a question. So we have 2 Pan Ams, right? So we have the one that's like the championships and the one that's the qualifier for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Does Europeans have the same thing? Because I noticed all of the guys who qualified were still wrestling, and my understanding was that if you were qualified, you were not allowed to wrestle.
Yeah, this was the championships. I don't know the date on the qualifier, but yeah, this was the championships. So
this was a champion and Russia didn't also send most of their best guys, right? I mean, I know I saw Sedgelayev, but
they sent Sedgelayev. Other than that, they didn't send Yuguev. They didn't send Rashidov. They didn't send Sidikov. They sent Nifanov at 86, so he's not their number 1. And then they didn't send Makov at heavyweight. So I think Sedgelayev was their only number 1 that they sent.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting that They didn't send any of their number ones, but they obviously still did really well. I'm not as in tune to all those international guys as you or Nomad or some other people Spay are. So I'll withhold comment.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the really interesting thing for people in the U.S. is that the two Cliff Keen guys brought back medals again. Amin made the finals. He kind of got worked by Nifanov, but then and Nifanov maybe number one. We'll see, but Amin got worked in that final match. Stevan Micic brought back a bronze again, so that's really
Who did
big.
he lose to?
He lost to Atlee again.
Okay.
And Atlee's had his number, the Turk. So,
he's really good. I mean, Atlee's been ranked number one in the world at times, right?
I think he has. I think if not one, he's certainly top four. So Atlee's really good, and for whatever reason, he seems like Stevan has a hard time with him. But I mean, they continue to have big time success at the continental level, which I don't know. I mean, I just think Michigan has figured something out, and at first it felt like a gimmick maybe that they're gonna try to just like sneak guys onto the world stage, but these guys are having success, and I don't know. I know the question about is it the right thing to do, or should the rules allow should USA Wrestling like put their foot down or whatever? I don't know, but given that the rules are the way they are, Michigan's doing a really good job taking advantage of that, and I think it's cool to see these guys.
I hope we see more. I hope we see more of that. I'm a big fan of what they're doing. I think we should see more of that because there are only so many spots. Russia's obviously doing it. Russia's got wrestlers wrestling for like 15 countries or something totally absurd. So I think the more Americans that we have competing at the World Championships, whether it's for the U.S. or not, and obviously, hey, a few times the American guy is going to beat the American guy wrestling for another country is going to beat the U.S. representative. Hey, that's just going to happen. That's some collateral damage. But I think it's a good thing to have Americans wrestling at the World Championship. So I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and I'm happy that they're having success.
Yeah.
Man, you are lucky Christian is not here.
Yeah.
Well,
you two would be fighting.
Because he wants everyone to be only 6 spots. It's just like, dude, come on. Let's get more Americans wrestling at the World Championships. If there's ways we can gimmick the system and have 10 of them at every weight, let's do that. That's good for everybody, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if it really is an issue where USA Wrestling needs to put their foot down and do something about it and tighten up the rules, that won't happen until somebody tries to exploit the system, until somebody tries to, work within the rules to get more guys on the team. And so if the rule needs to be changed, this is the fastest path to getting it changed, right? If everybody just says, if everybody just says, well, I'm not going to wrestle for Serbia or for wherever because it's just the right thing to represent the United States, and nobody pushes that boundary, then we'll never find a solution.
Yeah, people aren't going to do that where they just say, if they're the backup and they're the backup and the backup for years, and they have an opportunity to go wrestle somewhere else and compete at the World Championships, they're going to do that, right? It's not going to be. I mean, there's a few guys that probably be great patriots and say I'm only going to wrestle for America. But if other guys get the opportunity to wrestle, especially on top of that, if they're going to be funded by other countries, right? And I'm trying to assume that, Miles Amin is, if he's not getting funded, he should be, right? Because he is doing a lot of really good things for that country's wrestling organization. So if we get more guys doing that, ideally, I would like to. I mean, the solution that I proposed was that every country can have one representative at the World Championships, and then you have some type of Grand Prix or multiple tournaments where you earn points, and the next 5 guys or whatever who've earned the top 5 amount of points or whatever number it is, right? Then they get to enter the World Championship. So, hey, if there's 6 Russians in the bracket because there's the top 5 are all Russians, fine. If it's 5 Americans, fine. Whatever it is, the top 5 non-entries to the World Championships get to go.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. I would love to see that.
Because then you're getting the best guys there no matter what. And you're not having to see all of these transfers, because we know all those Russians are all transferring all over the place because they can't make the team and they're being funded by someone else, and that's the nature of humans, right? They want to be the starter, they want to get paid, they want to take care of the family.
Yeah. I mean, and until something like that happens, it does feel like, I don't know, Michigan maybe gets this bad rap for like siphoning American talent outside of the country, but you think about the way that their program is set up, and they've got Bela Glazov in the room, right? So they're bringing, world level, some of the highest level world, instruction into this country, and, giving access to American wrestlers access to Bela Glazov technique and instruction throughout the course of their program. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a two-way street. It's not just what Cliff Keen Wrestling Club is taking from the U.S. to kind of give to the rest of the world. I mean, I think it's kind of going both ways a little bit.
Yeah, I give the thumbs up to the Cliff Keen Wrestling Club. Good job.
I mean, it's working. They got 2 guys already ready to go for the Olympics, qualified and everything.
Yep.
Same number as USA Wrestling.
Yikes.
Twist.
Yeah, he's just twisting the knife. You got anything else for Cerro Pelado?
Cerro Pelado. No, I don't. I think Flo should buy the rights so someone can actually watch it next year.
I agree.
That would be really. It can't be that expensive, right? You go down there, like most Cubans, you just hand them an envelope of cash. Boom, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can film all the matches.
You own the country.
We might get Bracky over Ortega in the finals. The envelope's that big.
Maybe that's the problem.
That would be hilarious.
Maybe we haven't tried envelope full of cash. If you try like a contract and all that, maybe that's the problem.
Not going to work.
Yeah,
that is not going to work.
That's not their language.
Listen, you just show up, Mike Mal, a cameraman, envelope full of cash. You're going to film whatever the hell you want.
Mike Mal's actually perfect for that. He's probably done something like that before in Jersey. A few interesting D1 results. We don't need to talk about these full duels, but just some interesting results. Jared Prince is back for Navy. I don't think any of us thought we were going to see him this year, but he's back, and he knocked off returning All-American Larry Early. So he's wrestled 3 matches this year. He did lose to Parker Krotman of Drexel, which is kind of a weird loss considering then he turns around and beats Larry Early. But Prince is the guy that, when he's on, can absolutely push for All-American contention.
He's kind of like, reminds me of AC Headley a little bit this year, where, he was a 141-pounder and then did some 49, and then now he's back at 57. And I don't know, I just was like, okay, maybe they're just trying to get him into the lineup because he's good. But, man, that's a good result, beating Larry Early.
Mm-hmm.
Our Army Navy this weekend too, guys. It's big deal.
Yeah. Army Navy's always awesome in every sport. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that on Thursday, because both those teams are pretty dang solid from top to bottom.
Yep.
In Bedlam, we had a little bit of Bedlam. Anthony Mantanona beats Joe Smith. Did you watch this match, Ben?
I didn't see it, but I was shocked by the result because obviously we had the really bad result, Joe Smith versus Steyer, but then it seemed like Joe Smith was going to turn it around a little bit, and then this happens.
Yeah, so I was watching the match on Sunday, and Mantanona Smith was in a few times. Mantanona was able to get out of bounds, and then Mantanona with the slick little duck scores a takedown, so he's up 2-0 early, but then Joe Smith scores like 5 unanswered. He's up 5-2. He's cruising in the third period, like 30 seconds to go. And they'd been on their feet for like a minute. Mantanona was losing by a takedown, and he hadn't tried anything. And so Joe's looking to finish the match on top. He goes for a shot. He gets in on a kind of a low single, but he brought it up high. And Mantanona Gator Bacons him for 6.
Dude.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so the score is very deceiving then.
It's very deceiving. It was 5-3. He gets a 6-point move plus a point for riding time and wins 10-5.
Oh my goodness, the old Gator Bacon got him.
Yep. So that Oklahoma wrestled. I know there was like the score was like 28-8 or something like that. Oklahoma wrestled really well. It was
there's a whole bunch of really close matches in there that could have went either way.
Yeah, it was much closer than this. And then at 97, Woodley was all over Dakota Gear's legs. The final score was 10-9, but it did not feel that close. It was a bunch of escapes from Gear. Woodley looked great. Gear had no answer for his offense.
Nice.
And then also in that duel, Christian Moody was all over Nick Pinchinini. I know Pitch ended up pinning him in the third period, but it was 9-8. Pitch was winning, and the next stall call on Pitch would have been 2 points.
Dang.
Moody was all over him. It was really impressive by Moody. I was impressed with Oklahoma in this duel for the most part. They didn't wrestle Madrigal at 33, and kind of at 57-65 where they're a little bit weaker. They got beat, but they wrestled good as a whole. And then Tanner Sloan, who had a great redshirt year, battling some injuries this year, he beats Nathan Traxler, so he shoots back up the rankings into the top 15.
Yeah. People were expecting such big things out of Tanner Sloan. Obviously, Tech followed Jacob Warner at the Midlands last year, and he hasn't seemed to have followed up on what the expectations were.
Yeah, I think he's been banged up a lot this year, but it looks to be kind of rounding into form here as we head. He has a win over Woodley, win over Traxler in his past 2 matches, beat Stephen Buchanan, who beat Dakota Gear. So yeah, he's looking maybe catching that form that he was last year at Midlands.
I feel like that Big 12 197 is just like,
it's a lot of fun.
It's a total mess. It's gonna be wild.
You have, of course, Noah Adams is undefeated, but then you throw in Buchanan, who they'll actually hit this weekend. And then you have Gear and Woodley and Sloan. That's actually a really deep weight class.
Really good. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be one of the deepest weights for the Big 12, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because then you can even go down to Joel Shapiro at 6. Tanner Orndorff's actually ranked, and he's 7th in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And Jacob Seeley's been in and out of the rankings. And then even Cordell Eaton from North Dakota State is very solid.
Yeah. It's a really good weight.
It probably is the deepest weight in the Big 12.
I feel like Big 12 has a couple weights like that where it's like they don't have anybody in like the top 10, and then they have a bunch of guys between like 10 and 25. I think 74 is kind of like that with Joe Smith and Mantanona and Hayden Hastings. And
33 is really solid too with Lamont, Bridges, Sikora, Schwartz, Whitcraft, Madrigal, Small, Scholarczyk, and even all the way down to Gary Joint at 9.
Yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting tournament where I mean they're gonna have a lot of weights where there maybe aren't gonna be seeded at nationals to get an All-American, but they'll have a lot of those seeds between 9 and 20 or whatever. So I don't know. Should be a fun tournament, but just like it's super hard to predict at a lot of these weights. I mean, you talk about Mantanona over Joe Smith.
Yeah.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Ben, big duel.
So, wait, let me ask you. So, with I didn't get to watch the pitch match at Oklahoma, but you said you looked pretty rough. Does that give you fear going into the Spencer Lee match that he's just gonna get ran over?
Well, that's not why it gives me fear. What gives me fear that he's gonna get run over is Spencer Lee looks really good this year.
Well, last year, obviously, we know what happened last year.
Yeah,
so
but if you look at the Spencer Lee that was coming into that match last year, and then the Spencer Lee that's coming in this year, he has not looked. He hasn't lost. First of all, he hasn't looked shaky at all. Where he's given up these third period takedowns and getting ridden out and stuff like that, or even losing to Sebastian Rivera. He's bonused everybody but one person. And then after watching that with Pitch,
but the composition of the weight is different. Last year there was a lot more superstars at 125 than there is.
And someone asked that. Let me find the question since we're on that topic. Barber Poll. Do you think that 125 is down in talent this year, especially that great, or a little bit of both?
I down for sure. You don't have Aruja. You don't have Sebastian. You don't have who else am I missing here? I'm missing somebody.
You don't have Rayvon Foley, who was an All-American last year. You don't have Sean Russell, who graduated and was an All-American previously. I know I'm missing more people too.
Yeah,
I think
definitely down.
I think that the pitch match for Spencer Lee. I mean, it feels like, because Spencer has just like murdered everybody, it feels like Spencer is well positioned to look really good there, and especially when you think about Pitch having the result against Oklahoma is not the only match where he maybe didn't look quite as good as we expected. There are a couple of matches at the Southern Scuffle where you'd have expected Pitch to to maybe widen the gap on. I mean, like the Latona match, for example.
Yeah. That was really.
I feel like the Spencer Lee pitch in any match is going to be like the best measuring stick we have of where both these guys truly are, because I think pitch has the approach to potentially avoid getting turned in the first period, and that was the whole narrative last year. Like if you can push Spencer into the second period, third period without having given up big points, then you got a shot. And I mean, I wonder if
we saw that that happened with Jack Medley too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was what we saw with Jack Medley. What was that 2 weeks ago? I mean, pitch didn't he move so well, and that was I don't want to say evaded, but he evaded Spencer a little bit last year in the beginning of the match, and then he does have some pretty tricky defense with the shin whizzer, the splits. He's got a handful of tools there where he could avoid an early takedown, and we have seen that. That's definitely absolutely the route to success. If you get on bottom of Spencer early, you are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and to add on to guys that are no longer in the 125-pound bracket, the 4-seed Ronnie Bresser is no longer there, who owns a win over Spencer Lee. Sean Foss no longer there, and Travis Piotrowski's up at 33. So the depth, there's not much depth as there was last year.
I mean, Spencer's best win this year is Devin Schroeder, and he teched him. I mean, he looked really good in that match. Yeah.
Wow.
That's his best. I mean, I think that's his best win, and it's not really close.
Damn, are you serious?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah,
I will fact check this.
Fact checked it.
Yeah, I mean his other ranked opponents were Alex Mackel. I think Fabian Gutierrez was ranked at one point.
Yeah, that's his highest ranked win.
Dang, that's crazy. I did not. Wow, I didn't realize that.
So,
it's definitely down.
This would be a big test.
I mean, Spencer does look like he's even better than last year, but at the same time, it looks down as well.
Yeah.
Well, big duel. Former Big 12 rivals, Missouri and Iowa State this weekend with a few pretty good matchups. First of all, do you know what's going on with Grant Leaf?
I don't. I know. Obviously, I knew making the weight was going to be tough for him, but I have not got an update. When there's negative stuff like that, I'm not good with bad news, so I don't. I don't like digging into that. Like if someone.
Well, I didn't know if someone had offered it. Yeah, I didn't know if someone had told you something.
No.
I'm just curious if we'll see him in the postseason at all. He's not in the coaches ranking, which suggests that maybe they're not counting on him for the postseason. But I don't know. I haven't heard that for sure.
Yeah, I do not know what's up with him.
Okay, well, there will still be some good matches going on. Jarrett Dagan, Brock Mahler is probably the best one when you say him.
Those guys,
They both scramble a lot. It's going to be a disaster, and you kind of have that written down here on the notes. They're 2-2, and they're 61 points scored in 4 matches. I mean, that pretty clearly outlines what it's going to look like. I feel
that's great. Sign me up for that.
Is David Carr going to be back or no?
Yes, yeah, he'll be back.
He will be.
Yeah, our own JD Rader got an interview with him. He's a little banged up. But he said he'd be back this weekend. So they have Missouri Saturday, and then North Dakota State on Sunday. That was a duel that was supposed to happen in January, but some weather in DSU, I believe, couldn't get out of Fargo to get there. So they're gonna make that one up.
Is North Dakota State traveling to Missouri?
No, they're going to Ames. So Iowa State's going to Columbia Saturday, coming back to Ames and wrestling in DSU.
Okay.
That's going to be a crazy, crazy night for, it's not super close from Ames to Columbia, Missouri. I think it's like 4.5 hours, something like that. So for them to wrestle, they're wrestling an afternoon duel. So Mizzou tries to do this all the time where there'll be the morning session for the Missouri State High School Championships, and then obviously there's the finals at night. That's Saturday night. So they try, while everyone's in town, they try to do a dual meet in that between those sessions. And it usually turns out they have really great attendance. So
that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they actually hosted at the Hearns. So the Mizzou Arena hosts the new state tournament, which is like right here, and the Hearns hosts a duel. So people, just stream over there during the break, grab the match. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really smart. So yeah, we'll see. Was it Jacques Carr?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, that would be
that'd
interesting.
a good one.
Yeah, David Carr hasn't wrestled a ton this year. I was talking about that this weekend. He's 14-1 on the year and hasn't wrestled since January 26th.
Yeah. What? So what's the story? Did he tell JD Raider?
I don't think he said exactly what was up. Just that he was banged up. I honestly think the weight is tough to make.
Yeah.
Really?
Gadsden, yeah.
He's cutting that much weight?
He said I got to talk to the coaches, but I want to move up next year in the same interview.
I mean, they don't have. Iowa State doesn't have a superstar at 165. Why didn't he move up this year?
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like 165 with Chenzo and Marinelli and Wick at the top is a little tougher than 57. I mean, Hidley and Deacon are good, but I think if you say Hidley or Deacon or Marinelli Joseph, you would pick Hidley Deacon up to beat, right? If you're the guy challenging them.
Yeah. And I mean, Carr obviously looked good
What
and
the?
plenty
Hold
big
on.
enough for.
We got breaking news.
Uh-oh.
I know. I'm seeing that.
You seeing this?
Yeah.
It says Dresser noted Carr, Coleman, Colbray, and Deacon possibly going to Last Chance Open instead of to Missouri. Why? Is it because they need matches to qualify for the minimums or what?
I don't know. David Carr's got 15 matches, so that he hits RPI there. I don't know if they just want more matches instead of just.
Where's the Last Chance Open at, Kyle?
Hang on one second.
I don't even know. I don't even know where that is. I mean, weird. Yeah, I got to think Marcus Coleman and Colbray have enough matches also. Without looking them up.
They definitely do.
Huh. That's really weird.
Central Last Chance Invitational, is that it?
It must be.
Central? I don't know.
Central what?
I don't know. It's in the D2, D3 stuff.
But I thought D2, D3 matches don't even count for Division I wrestlers.
Yeah, I didn't think they did
Is
either.
that true?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Huh. That's really weird.
Yeah, I wonder why they're doing that.
I don't know. The Carr literally said he was wrestling this weekend. I guess he didn't say I'm wrestling the Missouri Tigers and North Dakota State Bison, but he said he was wrestling.
What the? Weird.
All right. Well, we'll try to figure this out while we move on.
We'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that for sure.
Maybe they're trying to pad their Hodge stats.
Yeah, that's.
It could be a Hodge.
There's
move.
no Hodge. That's where Nick Lee should show up. If I was Nick Lee, I would wrestle like four more tournaments. I would say, Kale, I'm gonna be sick on Saturday, and then he would be like, "But Nick, I swear I saw you at the Bloomsburg Open." must have been another Nick Lee. I was home puking, Coach.
No, that was Joe. That wasn't me. That was Jolie. That was my brother.
They just wrote down the wrong name. Well, why is it count on your stats? I don't know.
I don't know. That's really weird.
I don't know. Have you seen the results that come out of Cuba? You can't trust anything.
All
okay.
right.
Hey, let's talk about this Nebraska Minnesota because I think this is going to be a lot of fun too. Some really good matches. Red McKee's obviously a really good one. Will Patrick McKee actually be back? Do we know that? Because I think that was a pretty serious knee injury versus who did he wrestle? Oh, Devin Schrader. I mean, I can't confirm that, but he just looked like he kind of laid there in the last little bit of it.
Yeah, I saw him on the bench in Iowa, and he was wearing a knee brace over his jeans. I know they were trying to. They've been forfeiting the weight because they don't want to pull a red shirt with Matt Ramos, and then they're trying to get forgetting the 33-pounder's name right now, down to 25, but with the descent plan, he can't make it yet. I don't know. I would doubt it. I would doubt we see him.
Which,
just to give him more time to rest before Big Tens.
Yeah, that's too bad
And
for Minnesota. I think he has a win over Thompson. Yeah, he's 2-0 against Thompson. So that hurts them in that duel for sure if he's not back.
Yeah, that hurts bad.
And then let's see what else we got here. Oh, Labriola,
Labriola, Skatska, Vance Webster are both really good matches. And And then Ryan Thomas 157. That'll be kind of interesting because he had a really good match, obviously against Caleb Young last week to see if he can push Peyton Robb. So I feel like there's a whole bunch of matches in here which are, we're going to be really competitive and doesn't too heavily lead in one direction.
Yeah, and I didn't realize. I was looking through some of these matchups. I did not realize at 197 that Hunter Ritter is 2-0 against Eric Schultz. That kind of surprised me.
Really?
Yeah, he beat
Well,
him.
that would have been, but that probably would have been 2 years ago because Ritter had the broken leg last year. It didn't compete.
Yeah, that was in 2018, into the season 2018. He beat him 9-6 in a duel, and then Ritter pinned Schultz at Big Tens. So that's, that makes it interesting.
I got to think Eric Schultz has improved quite a bit by then. Since then, and Hunter Ritter. Hunter Ritter had a really good season. I think he was finished third at Big Tens that year.
Yeah,
which is a while back. Hey, are we gonna talk about Iowa Oklahoma State tomorrow, Kyle?
Yeah. I wanted to give a big chunk of the show tomorrow to that.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be a fun one.
Are you guys sending someone to that duel or no?
I don't know. I know. Well, Mark Bader was in Stillwater this week on Monday.
Is he right? He's riding the bus with them?
No, he's coming back. He just went down there and got some content with the Cowboys, and but I don't know if anyone's going to Carver Hawkeye Arena or not. Do you know, Dave?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone is.
We will have live updates for it. I know that. And then another big rivalry going down that I want to touch on. Rutgers Princeton. This duel was freaking awesome last year inside the rack.
Yeah.
This was when Chris Ayers said that Anthony Ashnault was not going to score on Matt Kolodzik. And then Kolodzik gave him the 10. But the Princeton coaches are awesome, and they were just trying to hype up that match, and they were great sports about it. I believe it came down to heavyweight too, and Rutgers ended up winning. But as David Bray put in here, does the winner of this duel own the state of New Jersey?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, they do. They both have a win over Ryder. So yeah, the state is theirs if they win. And there's I believe 3 ranked matchups going down. Aguilar and Glory at 125. Really like the way Aguilar's wrestling. Just don't know if he's on that level with Glory yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's true freshman, and
Go
so
ahead,
he's had some like I don't know. I mean, maybe inconsistent. I don't mean inconsistent in a bad way. Just as a true freshman, I think he's still probably trying to figure out a lot of things about how to approach, his college season. And so he'll have some performances where he just looks amazing. Looks like he can beat almost anybody, or at least hang with anybody. And then he'll have other ones where he drops a match you're not expecting. So I feel like for a match that means so much to both these teams, we may see the best version of Aguilar, although the best version of Glory is really, really good. So I don't know, but I'm interested in that one.
Yeah, I don't think he can keep up with Patrick Glory yet. Glory's just so good, and Aguilar has showed flashes, but I gotta lean Glory pretty hard.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And then 184, Billy Janzer, who I really like. I've been impressed with him this year, and it's Travis Stefanik. I'd lead Janzer there, but I could absolutely see that going either way. Stefanik's come up clutch a few times for Princeton this year, beating Nelson Brands and then sealing the dual win over Cornell.
Yep. I lead Stefanik also, and he has been clutch for them. Hey, did you guys say it's happening at the rack, or is it at Princeton?
No, this one will be at Princeton this year. Yeah.
Okay.
It was at the rack last year.
Not quite as raucous as it would be at the rack.
For sure. It's at Jadwin Gymnasium. And then Pagano Brucky. Pagano just had a big win over Laird of Ryder.
Yeah.
He did get beat by Davidson, but Davidson's ranked higher. And then Brucky trying to bounce back from that loss to the man named Armstead.
The goat. Man.
That won't be fun. And, we talk a lot about we need these rivalries and trophies and wrestling like they do in football. And this one has one. They have a trophy. So
what's the trophy?
It's I'm gonna pull up a picture of it here. It's this New Jersey. It's a state of New Jersey, and it's called the Big Ivy rivalry.
The Big Ivy.
Big Ten and Ivy League.
Yeah, I'll put a picture of it in the doc, Ben.
It's a nice little wood carving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's.
There are some really good. I mean, the last couple of weeks there've been some really good rivalry duels, and we'll have some more. We already talked about Army Navy's coming up. North Dakota State, South Dakota State.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they just get to take over the whole Dakotas. Whoever wins that.
What's that trophy called? They gotta have a trophy for that one.
I think Bono created it when he was there. It's the Border Bell, and it's a
nice.
It's a freaking kettlebell, and the one side is painted SDSU and the other side's painted NDSU.
I like it.
Yeah, NDSU they're really close to being in the dual rankings this week. They got a couple not great losses earlier in the year that kept them out, but they're like 9-3, and then South Dakota State's 12-5. So that'll be a really good one Friday night.
Nice. I'm actually going to UNI, Wisconsin tomorrow night. We're taking a bunch of our youth kids up there. That should be a good duel. A bunch of really good matches in that one. Blockus, Tristan Moran, Skudlarczyk, Barnett should be fun because those guys are both pinners. You got Max Thompson, Cole Martin will be really good. What else am I forgetting about? That's gonna be good. But there's a bunch of good ones. We
can make some picks for that one tomorrow too. We got about. Oh, I want to mention this too. The Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic, Team USA was announced, and Ben,
I'll be there.
You're gonna be You're the honorary coach.
Yeah, one of my guys, Keegan O'Toole, was picked to wrestle on the team, and he asked me to go with him, and so I said, sure, I'll go with. And they say, if I'm out there, I might as well coach some other people too.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, and you guys are covering that one, correct?
Yep, it's live on FloWrestling. It's one of the coolest events of the year, in my opinion. To get to see, obviously, PA year in and year out has some of the best guys, and then look back at the history of it and all the NCAA champions and All-Americans and world champions and Olympic medals that have wrestled in it. It's insane. And
well, one of the cool things that I read was that they have the youth state championships that weekend, and they kind of do like I was talking with Missouri. They stop it essentially prior to the PWC, so then obviously all the youth wrestlers will go to the PWC, and then they finish on Sunday morning. So that's pretty cool. It should make for a really good crowd as well.
Heck yeah! And
what do you guys make of them not doing 113 or heavyweight and doing? I think they're doing 2 138s and 2 195s. I saw a few comments which were not happy about that, and I guess what's your takes?
I think it's fine. I mean, I think the purpose of the duel is to showcase Pennsylvania wrestlers against some of the best in the country, and I mean, I don't know if you can get a better fan experience match by showcasing multiple guys at one weight and maybe not bringing in guys at the other weights, then I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, I'm cool with it too. We do the same thing with who's number one. If there's just not a match to make, we're not just gonna make one to make one. Like, this is supposed to be an elite showcase, and we're not gonna I don't want to say water it down because obviously these kids are really good, but we're not gonna take away from it just to have a weight class. And obviously we don't have Team PA yet because of the state championships, but it'll be interesting to see who some of these guys are matched up against. But like Braxton Amos would be there. I really like Cyrus Allred. He was super impressive at Flow Nationals last year. Obviously Keegan O'Toole, Austin Boone, who just committed to Penn State a few weeks ago. Cale Happel, Dom Serrano. I believe Happel's going for his 4th Iowa State title this weekend. So you got kids from all over.
I think Austin Boone's going for his 4th in Michigan. He's an interesting case. I know him pretty well because he come to camp every summer. But he was one who had a lot of success early in his career, and then I don't know, kind of felt like plateaued a little bit or didn't really move up the rankings. And now his senior year, he's made quite a big jump up the rankings. How high do you guys have him now? Like 3 or 4 maybe?
I think he's 2. Yeah.
2? Okay, so he's pretty high up there. So he made a big jump his senior year. I know he's got a really good ACT score. And when did he commit to Penn State? Because I did not realize he was going there.
Like within the past couple weeks.
Oh, really?
Very
Wow,
recently.
really recently.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Am I missing?
Nice.
Yeah, he's ranked second at 145 right now.
Yeah, so he's made a huge jump his senior year. Pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. He committed or signed January 30th.
So yeah, it's like that 2 weeks ago, middle of the season. Very interesting.
So yeah, always a great time there, and I believe because they have an undercard event, and I believe it's Team Maryland against Team Whippeal.
Where's Nomad at?
Yeah,
he's wrestling 125. I remember my junior year of high school, they had Team West Virginia wrestle Team Whippeal, and I was all excited. I was hoping that if we had a good showing, they'd run it back and have Team West Virginia wrestle there the next year, because I would have been a senior and I would have been the representative. But they did not have us run it back.
What happened? Did you guys get smashed or what?
No, we won.
Oh, really?
We beat Team Whippeal.
Oh.
That's probably why they were like, oh, we don't need this. Yeah, Team Maryland. Team Maryland versus Team Whippeal.
Who would you have wrestled in that? Do you know?
No, I'd need to go back and look. But maybe I can do that while you guys are talking.
Well, let's do some Q's from F's.
Yeah, let's get into it. Got about 20 minutes left.
Some of these are easy. We just delete them.
Well, start naming some off the ones that you want to.
You know what I mean? Knock these ones off? Okay.
Let's do
What's
it.
more likely, Seabass at 3 or Seabass 11? Seabass is not going to be 3 because it's going to be DeSanto, RBY, and Gross 3. Delete that one. We don't even need to discuss it.
Boom
Yeah.
roasted.
Fair?
Yeah. That's what you say,
Boom
right?
High school out of bounds. We already did that one.
Yep.
Done. Boom. Roasted. This is a good one for you guys. Whatever happened to the days of Nomad? You guys calling Nomad Ildar?
Why doesn't that happen anymore?
I don't know. I feel like he got less weird, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Or did you get more used to him?
That's probably more likely, actually. Like, some of the stuff he does doesn't even face us anymore.
we were just talking about that trip. That was a couple years ago, Big 12 tournament, and I wasn't here full time, but I was on that trip with you guys. And Nomad, I was rooming with Nomad, and it's the first time I've ever met the guy or interacted with the guy, and man, his energy was so up and down and bizarre. I remember that night. He's like, I can't sleep. I'm gonna be watching. I think it was Thor Masters or some Greco tournament, and that's where Ildar was wrestling. And so we're He's like, so we're sitting on the bed with our computers watching stuff. He's watching Greco. I asked him a question and then just look over, and he's still sitting up, but now he's asleep. He's just his battery just shut off or something. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, if you're a really OG FRL listener, I mean, that's probably 200 episodes ago now.
Yeah.
We would say good job Ildar to Nomad, because at that trip, the Big 12 championships in 2016,
16 or 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're at the Big 12 championships. We're on Media Row. Nomad, it's in the early round, so it's not like the semis or finals or something. Nomad literally has his back to the action and is watching Thor's Masters Greco on his computer, and Ildar Havisov was wrestling and he won. And we're facing the action. We're doing work on our computers, and we just hear Nomad behind us go, "Oh, good job, Ildar." And so we would just say, "Good job, Ildar." But yeah, he passed out in a Chipotle parking lot that trip because he was up all night watching this Greco tournament, and he didn't eat for 24 hours. He was a mess.
That's too funny. That is too funny. Okay, let's this one's a dumb question. Go-to meal after weigh-ins: cream puff, butter burger, or fried cheese curd. Those things all sound atrocious. I am not gonna eat all of them.
Yeah,
that question addressed. You can answer that too. Gross.
That even I eat like crap. Admittedly, I would not eat any of those things after weigh-ins.
Man,
seriously, make you want to puke.
Terrible.
Hey, what is Tanner Cook's Gator Bacon? I'm sorry if I'm offensive to Tanner Cook. I'm not. I don't know what team he wrestles for.
Dude,
He wrestles for South Dakota State. He's ranked 125 at or ranked
125.
No, he's ranked number 25 at 165. Sorry.
This dude is wild.
He is absolutely wild. Ben, I do that article.
So I need to go. I need to go watch him right now, huh?
Yes, you need to go watch him. He if you touch his leg, he's gonna gator bacon you, or at least try. And
or at least try.
He pins so many people. I'm gonna add it up real quick here, but it's like Jay Schwarm level falls.
There was a match this week. I think
he
it
has
was this
12
weekend.
pins this year. He has 12 pins.
Yeah,
12 pins on 19 wins. It's insane.
In that,
wow.
Was it the Stanford match where the guy gets in on like a single leg elevated?
Yeah, watch Tanner Cook versus Adam Kemp match, the Fresno State match.
Fresno State.
It's wild.
That's not a pin though. That's 18-12. He wins.
Correct, but he's up 12-1 after like a minute and a half because of
what?
Yes. He hits 2 different 6-point moves, feet to back.
At one point, he's like trying the gator bacon, so Kemp just like kind of lets go, and so he's like, "Oh, I can't get the gator bacon. I'll just go double overs instead and throw." Like it's just wild. He's wrestling like he's down by 5 with 10 seconds to go, but he's wrestling like that the whole match.
He's a lot of fun to watch, and I do like my favorite matches from the weekend that were live on Flow, and he's made it like 4 straight weeks because it's automatic. When he touches your leg, you're gone. You're over your head. You're gone. You're out of here.
Right. Well, do you feel bad because you're outing him now? So now no one's gonna touch his leg.
I've been outing him for 4 weeks, and people keep touching his legs. He keeps pinning them. It's amazing. I'm telling you, this dude is gonna stick somebody at nationals because they like you.
What if he sticks Alex Marinelli? Because Alex Marinelli loves going high crotch, and gator bacons are way easy from high crotches than head inside singles.
Yes. Yeah. No. It
could happen.
I think against the West Virginia kid, it was a head inside single, but it was lower, and he literally like picked him up off the mat so he could like kick him up and over. He's crazy. I love it.
That's funny.
He's gonna surprise somebody. I'm telling you. But this one we didn't get to yesterday, and I know Nomad wanted it, and you said it was a good question, Ben, from Eric Stevens.
Absolutely.
Do you think Braxton Amos can compete for a natty freshman year?
Okay, I'm gonna bring up the rankings real quick to see who's back. I don't feel. Listen, this is not inside information. I don't feel as though the Bono and staff are gonna start him as a true freshman. I think he will be ready to go, but I think it's better off waiting a year. So, in 2 years you'll have Colin Moore gone, Brookie gone, Schultz gone, Bruner gone, Alo gone. The weight class will look quite a bit different. I can't think of if there's anyone good in redshirt. Obviously, you're going to have AJ Ferrari in a couple years at that weight class also.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like you said, I don't have any inside info. I think it's best, though, for them to redshirt Braxton. Let him get accustomed to college wrestling and go to a bunch of opens and get him on college weightlifting program and everything. And I think he could be absolutely. I guess if you count him as a redshirt freshman, he could absolutely compete for a national title as a freshman.
I mean, I think even if I don't think he'll go either. But assuming that he does, I think he's right in here with these guys. Colin Moore and Bruner are gone next year, and 197 we've talked about all year. It's just so the weight class is in flux. Other than Noah Adams, who's undefeated, these guys are all taking losses, and I feel like he could be right in there with Adams, Brucky, Warner, Darmstadt. I feel like he could be right in there with all those guys.
Yeah,
maybe it's one of those things where do you send him to a bunch of opens and maybe he goes to Midlands or Scuffle and then you see how he's doing, and then if he's clearly like a top 5 guy, you let him run, pull him.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a strategy. Is he going to go to? Do you guys know if he's going to go to UWW juniors this year?
I don't, but I'm sure
that would be interesting.
I'm sure Tim will let us know after this episode. His dad.
Nice. All right, that would be interesting seeing him there because we'll see him compete against some of these guys that obviously he's going to have to beat to win a national title within the next couple of years.
Yep. Ben, you're starting to, you're a part of FRL when you're starting to get some Twitter accounts.
I know. I feel honored.
Yeah. What was the one? Someone One of them followed me last night. I can't remember.
I have two. I have Askren's attention span and Askren's morning whiz.
The attention span, yeah, that was the one that followed me last night. But Askren's morning whiz is wrestling a sport where the fans have the most effect on the outcome of the match? Example would be in Carver when thousands of Iowans are screaming stalling.
This has been proven in other sports that this has an effect. I remember I read an article about how much football was affected by the home field advantage, and it was directly related to the referee's call. So I would have to assume this happens in every sport. As a referee, they are humans; they're not robots, so they are going to feel the heat of the home crowd getting on them. And obviously, Iowa for wrestling, it used to be so biased in Carver because there weren't a lot of crowds like that. Now we're seeing that happen at a lot of places. I can tell you, absolutely, it affects the outcome.
Do you guys think that what has more of an effect on the outcome of a match, or maybe at least on how the match is officiated, the coaching staff, or the crowd? I'm really curious about that. I've seen that study about how the crowd can impact the officials' calls, but I've also seen in wrestling coaches, like before a duel starts, pull an official aside and tell them how that something they want to make sure that the official's paying attention to, and then you'll watch the official ref the match in a very specific way based on that feedback, and then it seems like you'll see very frequently one coach kind of get in the official's ear, and then that shapes the match quite a bit. I don't know. What do you think? Crowd or coach has more of an impact on the ref?
I think when you're in a duel setting, it's the crowd, but a tournament, it's the coach.
I think the coaches are going to be there no matter what. They're kind of a constant influence, and there's not a whole bunch where the power dynamic is too different, right? Between one coaching staff and another coaching staff. I feel like most of those better programs have coaches who are, I don't know what word you want to use, demanding, domineering, something like that, where the coaches are really aggressive. I wouldn't mind seeing the coaches being pushed further back off the mats where they can't be as close to the officials. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
Wow.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Do you like them that close?
I kind of love all the shenanigans.
So some of the stuff that I've heard coaches say to referees, I'm just like, oh my God, they should not be saying that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the coaches have a pretty big impact on whether or not the officials are ultimately selected to ref at the NCAAs. And I think we've heard officials say they make a lot of their calls not because they agree with the rule or whatever, but because they know they have to call it by the book to get selected for NCAAs. But I know, when I was at Wyoming, Steven Suter, who was the former coach at Wyoming, was the guy who was in charge of reviewing the officials. So, when it's a former coach or somebody that's still connected with the program that's helping to review the officials, or that every single duel is in charge of doing that, then it has to be in a ref's mind that somebody connected to the program is going to be reviewing me and submitting that information. And so I don't know. It just feels like whether physical proximity to the officials or just kind of how connected the sport is, there is a little, I don't know, the coaches have a lot to say over how high these refs can climb the hierarchy and all that. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing.
Next question.
What would the line be set at for a match between 2020 Nick Lee and 2019 Yanni?
I'm split. I was thinking about this one. This is actually a really good question. I'm split on this because I would love to see Nick Lee in a field with Jaden Ironman, and I know we saw them in freestyle, right? I feel like that's different. But Ironman and Yanni being out of this weight class, I think definitely changes the composition of the weight class. And we talked yesterday about how good Nick Lee is, and I argued he should be really a reasonable Hodge contender. So I feel like it's tough saying without having those guys in the weight class. And then we've also seen Yanni look just so outstanding, say at the U.S. Open and the trials and Final X last year. And we've also seen him. He didn't look all that great, which I know maybe he was coming off injury at the U.S. Open this year. So it's like, which Yanni do we see? He didn't look that great at the NCAAs last year, right, where he barely beat Joe McKenna. So which Yanni shows up?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I when I think about Yanni and Nick Lee, I think immediately about the comparisons between Nick Lee and Zane. And I don't think Nick Lee is as good as Zane. I think that's ridiculous. And when I watch the Yanni Zane matches, man, they're so neck and neck. They're so close to one another. They go back and forth. And so I don't know. Just that I know that transitive property is not always reliable, but I don't know. All that factored in, I think Yanni's a point better than Nick Lee. In terms of where do you set the line? I mean, I don't think the line is probably different than half a point.
Yeah,
but
so
I think it'll be.
Who do you
set?
Do you set it at? Do you set it at 0 then? Do you set it at even money? And just say who wins, or do you set it at give Yanni a point, or Nick Lee a point or two?
I'd go like
That's tough.
Yanni, maybe a half point minus
Plus
a half point.
Half no, but it can't be a tie, so that's impossible. You know what I'm saying? A half point is the same as even money. So you'd have to go 1.5 to make it interesting. So that would mean Yanni winning by 1 or Yanni winning by 2.
If it was set at 1.5, man, that would be. I think that's the right line because I can't decide. What would you take if it was 1.5?
I would take Yanni. I think Nick Lee is extremely good. He's really good. I think Yanni in folk style is just better, and I would.
Yeah.
I'm
going Yanni. Nick Lee with the 1.5. I'm gonna go Yanni wins by 1.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get really triggered when I see the
Kyle's getting triggered. I've never heard Kyle go off on a really pissed off rant. Let's go.
I don't know if I'm gonna get really pissed off about it. I just think it's silly the Penn State fans calling Nick Lee Baby Zane.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Oh, they do.
Oh, jeez.
The dude, Nick Lee's been 5th at NCAAs the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Zane was 5th once.
His freshman year, you're correct, and his losses were to Logan Siebert and Mitchell Port. His losses weren't to Ryan Deal and was Jay Nyerman for 5th.
Yeah.
He got pinned by Ryan Deal. And then
it's not so good.
Zane's sophomore year, he arguably should have won the Hodge and had ridiculous bonus percentage and was pinning everybody. Was turning and pinning the number 2 guy in the country. And then in the NCAA finals as a senior, he texted LeVon Mays. Like, he was just on a different – and pinned Sorensen in the semis.
Yep.
Like, he was just on a completely different planet from everybody else. And while Nick Lee has been outstanding this year, he's not on Zane's level.
I agree. Baby Zane. I'm just going to say that just to get you upset.
Yeah, I heard that rant yesterday, and the thing that convinced me, the top wrestling, right? Like you don't fear for your life when Nick Lee's on top of you like you do when Zane is.
He's good on top. He's riding people, and he's turning.
He's starting to get a couple turns now. He didn't used to get almost any, but now he's starting to get a few.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably he goes feet to back a decent amount too, or at least transitions really well from. It's not like where Zane would get the takedown and then he would set up his legs and then he would get the turn. Okay.
Let's do this for the last question and call it a show. I think you guys have to pick one. What match are you most looking forward to at Big Tens? Ooh, this is fun.
Let's list. This is some of the options he gave out. Lee Pletcher 2, Kimmer Hall 2, Seabass DeSanto, Paris Steveson, Paris Cassiope 2, all the rest of the 133, Sasso Lugo 2. Discuss, please. We will, Kevin Mulder.
I know what I want.
Okay.
I want Seabass DeSanto. It's something that we have not.
I'm going to say that.
We haven't seen it before, which is a big deal. Both of them have fiery personalities, which means something very interesting can happen. And they're both high volume offense. So, I'm I'm having a hard time picturing what it's going to look like.
Yeah. I could absolutely see, like you're talking about that, the fiery personalities. You don't know what's going to happen. Last year at Big Tens when DeSanto and Suriano wrestled.
Oh yeah.
I've never been at a tournament with like 4 mats going on, but you could just feel everyone watching this corner mat, and like every little thing that happened, everyone would react to it. Like at Big Tens, it's really evenly split up, like all the fan bases. Like every team has a decent crowd there. Obviously, like Penn State and Iowa and Minnesota had bigger ones because it was there, but they were all invested into this match. They all had a side they were cheering for. Because Suriano's not the most well-liked wrestler either. So not everyone was just cheering against DeSanto. It was insane. And then all the stuff that happened after the match where Terry and Suriano were pointing at each other. I could absolutely see that happening. And that, man, that'd be so much fun.
So much
inside
fun.
the rack because New Jersey's going to get behind Sebastian.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, that one. But I guess if you take that one, I'll take Gable.
You
Mason.
can take that one, too. I mean, I think we could all take the same one if it's that good.
Yeah. But I guess one A then would be Paris and Stevenson.
I agree. That, man, I cannot wait to see that match. I think Mason Paris is like a lot closer than people think, and it wouldn't shock me if he wins that match. He like the way he beat Zare, and the way that he's beat everybody this year. They're just very different wrestlers, and he's gotten so good. I think Mason Paris, Gable Stevenson is going to be amazing.
We kind of mentioned it last show, but the Paris Hilger match was 3-1.
It was really good, a really good match, and really fun scrambles. For heavyweights, dude, they scrambled their butts off. There was a handful which ended up being stalemated, but they were just like really, really good action.
Yeah, for a 3-1 match, there was a lot more action than that. But that kind of worries me for Mason Paris a little bit with Gable though, because you mentioned it last show, Ben. He's really good when dudes shoot on him. And is Gable just going to pick Mason apart if he just keeps shooting? And because Hilger could scramble with Mason and tie him up and get these stalemates and almost score. Gable's going to be able to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Trent could scramble, but, he didn't let Mason get to his legs a few times. But is Gable going to be able to shut him down and hit the go-behinds or hit reattacks? I mean, that's worrisome.
Yeah, that kind of made me think this might just be – I'm not saying next topic, but Gable might just be in the driver's seat.
I don't know. I'm curious. We'll see.
I'm curious, too, because, I mean, that's one angle. But then it's like, damn, the way that he manhandled Anthony Cassiope, that was just really, really impressive. Yeah. I mean, when you see that, it's like, oh, my goodness, maybe he can go with Gable. So, yeah, it's a tough one for me.
The result I can't get out of my head is Mason Paris smashing Zare from Iran. Like I can't get that out of my head. Like, that dude beat Makov. That dude beat Petriashvili. Like he smashed him. That guy killed Kirkfleet, and Mason killed him. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it'll happen, but how that match will go down. But I really can't wait. The other match, I was tempted to say Kemmerer Hall too, because that first match was amazing. But one that's not on this list is Cenzo Marinelli Part 4.
Sure.
Normally, like after in a series, the third or fourth match, like it starts to get tighter and guys close down. But like these guys are required by law to start in a body lock, and like they go crazy. I don't know, that match they had in the duel, I feel like was the best match they've had of all three. So I feel like that fourth match is going to be really cool too. I'm looking forward to that.
I feel like the Hall Kemmerer is going to be a letdown a little bit because the dual meet was so good. I just don't feel like there's any way that the next match can be as good as the previous one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so good. The dual meet was just awesome.
Yeah, Carver environment might have helped with that a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
That the rack might not help as much. All right. Do you guys want to talk about your favorite wrestling shoes of all time? Do you have a favorite pair, Ben?
Brutus, the brand new ones, the second Kyle Snyder's.
Very nice.
Oh, I can't. Man, I had an old school pair of Asics Tigers back in the day that were pretty cool. White, they were white, like the white old school with the black Asics logo. Those were my favorite.
I got a couple pulled up here. The Kale V1s. Those were awesome.
I remember those.
I had a pair of those, the blue and red ones. I love those. And then I had a pair of the Asics 54s.
Yeah, why? I don't know why they ever stopped making those. Everyone loved those. And
Yeah.
They just decided to stop making them.
Yeah, I really like those. And then pretty much all throughout high school, I wore the black and red Rulons. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, those are awesome. It's like having a tire tread on the bottom of your foot. Yeah.
All right, guys. We can play that music. It was a good show. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk UNI, Wisconsin. You can't beat a little Thursday night wrestling. Iowa, Oklahoma State. In my opinion, the best rivalry in college wrestling. And who knows what else we'll talk about. Maybe we'll learn some more about this doping stuff. Maybe we'll get some more breaking news. But till then, keep it tuned on FloWrestling.com for all the best wrestling news. Ben, we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Brad, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
See you.
See ya.